going on, my friends? It's Jason here. I hope you're all doing fantastic. Now, don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content like this to help me out. Also, hit that like button. Make sure you hit that like button, pretty please. Anyway, enough of me begging. Let's get into the video. So, anamorphic lenses are starting to become a lot more common in the world of filmmaking, and there are versions that have been released that are much more affordable, like this one here. This is the Freewell Anamorphic lens. Now, anamorphic lenses generally cost excess of thousands and thousands of dollars, and they pretty much just weren't affordable to regular consumers, and they would only be used on professional film sets. Now, they give you this unique characteristic with oval-shaped bokeh, blue lens flares, and that really awesome wide squished aspect ratio. Now, I guess people aren't really a fan when it comes to the blue lens flare. Like I said, I did a lens review on the Ulanzi Anamorphic lens as well, and people are like, yeah, I don't really like the blue lens flare. I don't think you realize how common it is used in films. Anyway, the biggest pro, in my opinion, with anamorphic lenses is providing that wide aspect ratio without having to waste any of the sensor. Now, you'd probably realize a lot of YouTubers would actually crop the top and the bottom to give you that really sort of thin aspect ratio. Now, that wastes a lot of footage. It wastes a lot of resolution. Whereas the anamorphic lens, essentially what it does is provides a lot more in frame, squishes it into the sensor, and then all you need to do is stretch it out in post. And that will actually leave you with a wider aspect ratio. You don't have to crop the top, you don't have to crop the bottom. You won't be losing any resolution at all when it comes to a wider aspect ratio. So you won't actually need those cinematic black bars at the top and bottom. I really need to water that plant. It's looking a bit dull. God, a little bit off track. Anyway, let's take some photos and videos and just to see what image quality you can actually get out of these two, because I do want to compare these two when it comes to image quality and the aspect ratio, and just, you know, what are the pros and cons of these two? Let's get into it. So this is the Freewell Anamorphic lens. You can see what kind of lens flares you can get out of a mobile phone light. And this is the Ulanzi lens flare, so you can see the difference here. There is a little bit more flaring when it comes to the Ulanzi filter. So we're having a look into the Ulanzi Anamorphic lens, and you can see here it is quite warm, and there's a little bit of barrel distortion in that line of the pegboard. So you can see it's a little bit distorted, and I guess the only way you would correct that is in video. You would actually have to do corrections in that in your editing software. And you can see the difference between the Freewell one. It's pretty much the same aspect ratio, it's the same amount of distortion in that, as opposed to, you can see here, this is the regular footage. The pegboard is nice and straight and there's no distortion. But you can also see there's a little bit of color casting when it comes to that Ulanzi lens as opposed to the Freewell. There's a little bit, and then you can see the Osmo Pocket image is just regular color temperature. It's not as warm as the other two. So if we zoom into the center, you can actually see it's not too bad on the Ulanzi lens. If we zoom out to the corners, and same again, it's actually not too bad as well. And same with the Freewell, if you zoom into the center, it's actually quite sharp. You're not losing actually much quality at all, and out to the edges, it's pretty much the same as well. And then when you have a look at the regular Osmo Pocket image, it's, you know, it is a little bit sharper, but if you're zoomed out, you probably actually won't notice too much difference. Okay, so both these lenses give a rough anamorphic squeeze of about 1.15 times, rather than the sort of common 1.33 times squeeze. Now, you just have to make sure you do this in post. Now, at the end of the day, the cons of actually using these things on top of your Osmo Pocket is that you can't actually use ND filters. So you're gonna have to start cranking up that shutter speed, which I guess isn't ideal for smooth motion blur. But nonetheless, it's still pretty good, even if you crank that shutter speed anyway. Now, there is one con to the Freewell filter, and that is it does hit on the bottom, right here when it initializes. Now, the Ulanzi version doesn't seem to do it as much because of the shape of it. The Freewell version does seem to do it, and it does lift off a bit. I would actually recommend you just initialize the gimbal first and then place a filter on top anyway. So, I mean, that's not really that bad, but it is an extra step. It's up to you if it's a pro or con there. Now, the key difference, I guess, between the Freewell filter is there's like a rubber bottom. It's actually quite nice because that actually doesn't scratch the surface of your Osmo Pocket. And you know, if you want to try and keep that lens nice and clean, that's really good, because most of them you have this metal sort of magnetic strip to hold the filter on there, and it will scratch the lens. I mean, my lens is pretty scratched, but it's only on the outside, so you don't actually notice it in the footage because it's not actually in the field of view, so you can't actually really notice it anyway. Now, one of the biggest differences between these two as well is the color casting. The Freewell filter does seem a little bit more natural when it comes to color casting. It is a bit warmer. I guess it comes down to better optics and better coating on the exterior, whereas the Ulanzi is actually really, really warm. I guess because there's a lot of blue lens flares. Like when you use that, the lens flares are almost overwhelming in comparison. But overall, I guess I'm really happy with the performance of the filter, and you know, I guess I recommend it to people. It is really cool who want to get that particular look, or who actually want to have a more of a squished aspect ratio, more cinematic footage. But also, Freewell do it for the Mavic Air 2. So this is the anamorphic lens for the Mavic Air 2. I mean, I think they do it for the Pro as well, the Pro 2. Don't quote me on that. I'll have a link in the description below so you can check these out anyway. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you already haven't, just so you can get your notifications so you can see what kind of videos I'm releasing. I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of videos when it comes to the Osmo Pocket, the Mavic Air 2 with the anamorphic lens for that as well. The anamorphic lens has come out on that, and I really want to show you guys what it looks like. The A7S3, which I have placed on order. Hopefully that'll come next month. Really excited to get my hands on that. And also the GoPro Hero 9. I'm really considering getting the GoPro Hero 9. The Osmo Action is great, but the stability just isn't as good as I would like it to be, because I am planning to do a few videos with some real heavy action with motocross and stuff. And I've got a short film that I'm actually, a short documentary that I'm actually filming that I need really good GoPro footage. So hopefully that will come, get my hands on that. But anyway, guys, yeah, that's it for me. I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, let's get it.